This is Defender Radio. I'm Michael Howie, and this is Defender Radio, the podcast for wildlife advocates and animal lovers brought to you by the Fur-Bearers. As you may have guessed already, this isn't a normal episode. There's no interview, but I do have two pieces of news related to the Fur-Bearers that you're going to want to hear. So let's just dive into them. The first one is the Fur-Bearers Read-a-Thon. It's a new event that we're all super excited about, and it starts now. A little bit of background information. Our executive director, Leslie Fox, has long talked about doing a read-a-thon for the Fur-Bearers. And like Leslie, I have fond memories of read-a-thons as a young person. Where I grew up, we would have battles of the books over March break. And the local library would help kids, find some books and then challenge themselves to read. We also had read-a-thons in school to see if you could get through an entire book or an entire series or even just read a lot about a single subject. The benefit of a read-a-thon is it's a wonderful way to talk about literacy, encourage literacy, but also talk about the subject matter. And for us, that's obviously wildlife and the environment, specifically fur-bearing animals, but in general, wildlife and the environment. So we have figured out a way to run a read-a-thon. We're using existing software we have for our client relationship management software, our CRM, called Salsa Labs. All you have to do to participate is go to thefurbearers.com/read or follow the links in this week's show notes or across our social media channels. You'll be able to register to be a participant and fundraiser, and that means you get your own fundraising page where you can talk about why you're fundraising, what books you're going to be reading, and even more if you want. It's really cool. You go in, you sign up, it's super easy. It can connect directly to your Facebook or Twitter to make sharing even easier, and it'll import your profile pictures and everything. If you're not too sure about that, don't worry. We created some tutorial videos so you can see exactly how to register and then how to set up the fundraising page. It's quite simple. So again, that's thefurbearers.com/read. The idea is that from August 9th, right at midnight, to the 15th at the end of the day, all participants are either going to do their best to read a series of books, which is what Leslie and myself are doing. You can pledge to read a certain amount of time over that week. So if you're a younger person and you have the time, you can do 2 or 3 hours a day. Or if you're busier and you only have half an hour in your day to read, just make the note that you're going to do your best to read for half an hour a day that whole week. We're going to be sharing our book lists. We've got giveaways. We've got prizes. It's going to be great. And of course, all of the money raised through this receives a charitable tax donation receipt for Canada at the end of the year and supports our campaigns. Everything we do requires literacy as part of civic engagement, whether it is the vast number of freedom of information requests we submit, review, and that inform our campaigns, or it's even just the door hangers that we help with to put up when coyotes and bears are in neighborhoods so folks know what's going on and can respond effectively. All of it starts with literacy and reading. So this felt really natural for us, and we're all really looking forward to it. Again, just head over to thefurbearers.com/read or follow the links in this week's show notes and across our social media. You'll see the adorable graphics created by Michelle Lee of Broadview Design and how easy it is just to get started. So again, thefurbearers.com/read and get reading with us. You can start now, but the actual reading event is August 9th to 15th. So log in, register, and start sharing today. The other piece of news I have is about a new feature coming to Defender Radio. Leslie and I have talked a lot lately about the emotional exhaustion and fatigue and frankly, sometimes outright depression we get as a result of climate change. In our positions, we are reading about it and looking at the impacts on a daily basis, from the heat domes that struck BC and Alberta earlier this summer to the wildfires that are now right around the world and the frightening predictions for the future and the impacts to wildlife. It all really weighs on us. Part of the frustration that really anchors it, though, is the fact that beyond voting, most of us are incapable of creating the seismic change necessary at the corporate or legislative level. But as zero waste chef Anne-Marie Bonneau likes to say, we don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. So here's the plan. We're going to talk about solutions. We're going to do short, under 10-minute long interviews that feature solutions accessible to as many Canadians as possible. That means things that most Canadians can do. You don't need to own a big house with a giant roof or solar panels. You don't need to go out and get a brand new car. These are things that we can all do on a day-to-day basis. And each of them will also talk about the measurable difference to our carbon footprints and the impact that has on climate change. I expect some of these solutions will be things that you already do, and there may be some that you don't want to or are unwilling to do. There will be solutions that are hundreds of years old, and some that are brand new innovations. But that's part of the excitement, and part of the role you need to play in this new show, finding the solutions. I'll be sending out mini episodes or minisodes of Defender Radio. Each will feature a brief interview with an everyday person talking about the solutions they implement in their day-to-day lives to make a difference. I've already set up a handful of these and have more in my book to do as the weeks go on, but I'd love to hear from you and what your solutions are. So shoot me an email at michael@thefurbearers.com. That's Michael @thefurbearers.com. Or send me a DM on social media with your ideas. Share news stories, DIY plans for things you've built in your backyard, academic journal articles, or whatever else is helping you to make a difference. Just think about the impact your community could see if half the people spent 5 minutes picking up litter twice a week, or the incredible impact it would be if people in your workplace stopped using plastic wrap with their lunches. These are all small, simple, daily choices we make, but with time and with leadership, the impact becomes exponentially higher. So let's get started. Give me a follow at Howie Michael on Instagram and the Defender Radio Podcast on Facebook. Shoot me a DM about your solutions, and I'll try including it in an upcoming minisode. I'll also need your help with one other little thing. The name I came up with for these minisodes is Combating Climate Change Through Consumer Choice, which is accurate, illiterate, and amusing to me, but far too long. So I want your name ideas. You may even find that your submissions result in receiving prizes or entry to draws in the future, so get your messages in today. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and I'm looking forward to bringing you these minisodes and participating in the Read-a-Thon right along with you this summer. To learn more, hit up thefurbearers.com and follow us on social media, Fur-Bearers on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Next week, you are going to have a regular episode on wildlife feeding featuring Dr. Sarah Dubois of the BC SPCA. It's a great interview. I had a lot of fun. We share a lot of anecdotes, studies, and more. So remember to subscribe and tune into the next one that'll be in your feed Monday or Tuesday. Until then, I'm Michael Howie for the Fur-Bearers and Defender Radio, reminding you to be kind and to stay informed and stay strong.